What's up, guys? Your boys, 22K13. I'm going to talk about 11 worrying signs for the future of WWE NXT. WWE NXT has been an undeniable success for the past year and a half, but the current fan fervor around the brand is blind to the facts of the business. While it would be nice to think that we are on the cusp of something even bigger than NXT, there are also some stark reasons why we should be concerned about the brand's ability to maintain its great form. Getting over is easy. It is staying over that's the problem. There are several big issues to think about, but before exploring the challenges faced by NXT, it really does deserve a note of praise. The quality of matches has been breathtaking in the past year. The policy of absorbing credible indie talent has paid off, and men like Sami Zayn have flourished. Then you got the women like Charlotte and Sasha Banks, with time to tell stories and demonstrate athleticism. They change the perception of female wrestling in WWE. The show is overall structured to please, and its specials are arguably the best shows produced right now in WWE. But as NXT ambition grows and as the audience come to expect excellence from the brand, can it really continue to operate at such a rapid level? Unfortunately, there are several reasons why NXT has perhaps already peaked and is looking toward a more uncertain future. And by the way, this is coming from WhatCulture.com. Number 11, still just a tiny show. The hype in the fan community around NXT isn't representative of its actual popularity. Raw does 3 to 4 million viewers each week in the United States. Even SmackDown does 1 to 2 million viewers. Each week, they fill arenas with 5,000 to 10,000 plus people, depending on the city. The majority of those fans don't want NXT. The consumer demand for NXT is way less than you might have expected. Yes, they have started touring, and yes, they did have enough demand to run 2 nights in Philadelphia recently, but actually over 2 nights they only did around 3,500 fans. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reported that the second show was heavily papered. Sessions were tampered off and fans with cheap tickets got moved as close as 6 rows ringside, and that in a wrestling hotbed like Philly, with mostly very affordable tickets on sale. The viewing audience and paying audience have some way to grow before NXT really can be considered a success like Raw and SmackDown. Number 10. Increased cost and strain. Despite the negative commercial performance, the critical reception to NXT is off the chart. That's why WWE took it to places like Philadelphia, and the plans are to do even more house shows up and down the state. There even talk of an NXT European tour. The plan for 2016 is an ambitious 3 shows a week on the road. It is possible that WWE will find some success with this, particularly if focusing on smaller buildings, but it will also be a significant challenge to NXT's future. The extra cost and strain on the talent could end up undermining the product. Right now, the roster really benefits from a low workload and hardly any time having to travel the road. The extra cost will also put the brand under greater scrutiny from the WWE bean counter. There's going to be a ton of extra pressure on everyone. Number 9. Indie talent drying up. Part of what made NXT so engaging in the last year was a constant influx of talent. Every couple of months seemed to herald a new credible star. Hideo Itami, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe all came in with stellar reputation from the indie scene. They joined a roster that already boasted top indie talent like Neville and Sami Zayn. But the question for the future is, where does the next batch of these credible stars come from? Guys like the Briscoes turned WWE down when an NXT offer was made. As for AJ Styles, he too busy and making too much money to come in now. When you survey the scene, there's not many names that WWE could feasibly get now. The past year has been great and made NXT one of the hot subjects of conversation in the IWC. But how can that possibly be repeated in the future when WWE has already gobbled up the cream of the available crop? Number 8. The in-house workers are held back by the indie stars. The whole purpose of NXT is to develop new talent, but an increasing problem is that in-house WWE projects are overshadowed by the brilliance of the already established indie workers. A case in example is Baron Corbin. He got a great look that would do well commercially for WWE. He's the type of build who has traditionally been successful for Vince McMahon, but his ability to grow in NXT is impaired by the fact that he perceived as inferior to the indie stars. The smart crowd aren't there to see a developmental show. They are there to see a wrestling spectacle. There's a lot of green rookies who are getting jeered because the expectation of the show have moved beyond development. That's going to be a problem that WWE must think about in the future, as development is still the main purpose of the brand, and the majority of workers are in fact green. The awesome wrestlers in NXT are actually the minority, and unintentionally they setting the bar too high for their developmental quality. Number 7. Kevin Owens to Raw. This move looks already to be underway, with Kevin Owens currently embroiled in a main roster feud with John Cena. A permanent Raw move can't be far off. That'd be a loss for NXT. Owens promos and matches are a regular highlight of the fleeting show. In terms of being a touring brand, it'll be an even bigger blow as he one of the very biggest stars as a long-reigning champion. But it isn't just the loss of Owens that will hurt NXT's future. It is what it represents. Basically, anyone who gets over on NXT is then going to be a must for Raw or SmackDown. How can NXT possibly build a future when top stars are ultimately shipped off to richer lands? Number 6. Hideo Itami back to Japan. While Kevin Owens has been a success in NXT, the struggle of Hideo Itami must have served as a warning to others on the indie circuit. As Kenta, he was one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling. His status in Japan was as big as John Cena is here in the United States, but he gambled that on an instant to try a WWE career. It hadn't worked out. A run in NXT was always expected, but it had failed to really ignite. He just there, going through matches. Then came a recent shoulder injury which will rule him out for 6 to 8 months. So having been with WWE for over a year, Tommy had little to really show for it. He had to be considering his options at this point, particularly a move back to Japan where he could be making big money and working big crowds. He'll be a loss to WWE but also an example that might put others off joining NXT in the future. Number 5. Instant failure of NXT guys on the main roster. The track record of NXT guys going up to the WWE is not good. In terms of the future of the developmental brand, it is going to come under more and more scrutiny if it keeps sending up duds. Vince McMahon and his team are clearly not rating what they have sent up this far. Just take a look at their ascension. They were awesome on NXT, but on Vince Raw, they've been absolute jokes. The same can be said of Adam Rose and Bo Dallas. They've gone from meaning something in NXT to meaning absolutely nothing on Raw. Even Neville's recent successes are measured with a feeling of foreboding. What does it say for the future of the developmental brand if the workers they keep standing up are failures on the main roster? It may not even be NXT or the individual fault, but it is going to start impacting negativity on what Triple H is trying to do with his brand. Number 4. Injuries. The style of wrestling in NXT isn't as safe as the more structured WWE style matches on the main roster. Each week on NXT, we are seeing guys flipping over top ropes and taking brutal impact moves in the ring. For guys like Sami Zayn and Hideo Itami, the consequences are already starting to mount up. Zayn has missed so much of this year, and Itami is now missing the rest of it. There's a danger in NXT that more and more guys are going to go out injured. There's a pressure to wow the audience, and there's a notion that an NXT match has to be full on. You only need to look as far as Daniel Bryan to see that it isn't healthy for a wrestler to always give their all. A more moderate NXT style is going to need to be slowly introduced as time goes on. Number 3. Cynical business. You only need to look at wrestling history to see that NXT current form can't last. The very nature of the industry is to be cynical. Something gets over, has a hot run, become Monday, and then become loath. Even the WWE very hottest run, the Attitude Era, only lasted for 3 years. Likewise, WCW and ECW had a couple of really hot years at their peak, but then dipped dramatically. NXT will be the same, and we are already a year into their hot period. The cycle is well underway, and next year will probably be the year of backlash. Fans will turn on it. It inevitably be compared to this past year and fall short. If history is anything to go off, the people behind NXT simply can't keep it up. Number 2. Mass exodus of top NXT stars to Raw. NXT popularity is all down to a few key performers. The likes of Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks, they are really the key component of the show. Beyond that, it is actually a pretty average show. Many of the matches can be flat or too quick. Only the top stars are really counted on. Yes, guys like Tyler Breeze and Becky Lynch are good, but do they really have the star power to carry NXT when their peers move up? It is hard to see how NXT could work on the road without some of the names in this first paragraph, but the fact is that a mass exodus is coming. Owen, Zayn, Baylor, Charlotte, and Banks are all destined for Raw in the next year. They should already be there. You already get the feeling that WWE are holding them back to prop up NXT. But at the end of the day, the likes of Baylor are hungry for the main roster. Staying in NXT isn't really what any of these guys want. The continued success of NXT is going to be very challenging when the big names move up. And number one, Vince McMahon is barely engaged with NXT. The biggest worry for NXT future is that the most important man in WWE is barely engaged with it. Vince McMahon doesn't watch the show. Triple H had admitted that fact, but apparently the one time Vince did come to a show, he was blown away. But you have to ask yourself, if he was so blown away, why doesn't he find an hour each week to watch it on his WWE network? The reality is that Vince is probably unimpressed with the small body and indie style. McMahon is a promoter who has worked the business for decades and saw every hot fad come and go. He probably still doubtful of NXT's long-term potential. Triple H's pet project has been a success up to now, but maybe that pet project has only ever existed because Vince couldn't be bothered himself with a developmental brand. NXT has came a long way, but with the range of challenges ahead, it still has a long way to go before its success can really be judged. Well, that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.